Are we live on the interwebs? Are we Facebook and YouTube?
Okay, it's 7:05. Welcome. We're running a little bit behind. Sorry, guys. I like to start on time normally. My name is Rob Chevez. I am the facilitator of this Reston grid location. And Mark and I are actually, for those that don't know, we've been running this now for 12, 13 years.
30 years.
12, 13 years. And what we do is we help empower the community with information to help them build wealth in their life, right? We give you all the tools, resources, and network, real life deal makers here to help you be able to go out into the field and do what you need to do, right? We don't leave it, like, there's no books being sold in the back of the room. There isn't like any pitch. This is real world local content. And if you have questions, just ask the question. We'll answer the question if we know the answer. If we don't know the answer, guarantee you there's somebody in the room that probably does know the answer, right? So the way I like to start off is because we like intimate rooms where everybody gets to know each other and everybody gets to be able to familiarize themselves with who's in the room, so that if there's a wholesaler in the room and you want to network and connect with wholesalers, you get access to knowing who they are because they've kind of raised their hand and said, I'm a wholesaler. If you're a rehabber, say I'm a rehabber. If you've got money to lend, say I've got money to lend. If you're brand new to the business, just say, hey, I'm totally new, I'm here just to learn, right? That's cool too. But the power is in the network. The power is in the people around you. This is why we built this, 12 years ago. Come on in. And I want you guys to build your database. This is part of this, right? Tonight's topic is about how to market for deals, how to make the telephone ring. In this highly competitive environment, you need to know how to make the telephone ring to get deals, because trying to find stuff on the MLS is difficult, if not impossible, in an inventory short market like we're in right now, right? So we're hoping to give you some tools and strategies that you can then go out and implement in your business, your investment business. So you can either wholesale, rehab, or do buy and holds, right? So with that said, we'll go through real fast. We always kind of reserve Mark at the end and me at the end. Why don't we start here? Introduce yourself real fast and kind of go through it. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
My name is Kathy Ramirez. I'm a realtor in Maryland and Virginia for Sampson Properties, but I'm also an investor. I am now buying multifamilies in Baltimore, and I'm looking for private lenders.
Awesome. Looking for private lenders, doing deals all over, really. Yeah. Go ahead.
My name is CAZA Reston. Moved here from Central Pennsylvania, wholesaling there, trying to start wholesaling.
Okay. Well, starting wholesaling in Virginia. Lourdes.
Lourdes. I'm a realtor, but I also have a business with my husband who's not here today. We're mostly wholesalers, and we're looking at getting a property to hold on to.
Okay. Looking for buying holes, right? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Victor, one month in the business, wholesaling. So looking to meet maybe some rehabbers or some lenders around. So DMV, Baltimore. If I have to go to Richmond, maybe Kentucky.
Awesome. Okay. Welcome. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amanda, 1 month too in this game, trying to get as much education as we dive into wholesale.
Very cool. Welcome.
Right, my name's Parsa. I'm a wholesaler. I haven't had my first deal yet, but I know I've been in this business for a good 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
I've done my research, and I'm looking for cash buyers, people that are interested in investing in Loudoun County and Fairfax areas. So yeah.
Great. So looking for cash buyers. It's a wholesaler. Been at it 5 months. Looking to do his first deal. It takes most people 5, 6, 7, 8 months before they get their first deal. So just keep doing it. Go ahead.
Pete, I'm a realtor and here to learn. Been here before. So.
Awesome. Welcome back. Go ahead.
My name is Christina. I've been learning real estate investment for half a year. Still struggling to. Very overwhelmed. So I'm here to. My goal for this year is 10 wholesale deals. Hopefully by the end of the year I can flip one. So anyone who is flipping now, I can help you out. I work in the DMV area.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kiris Powell. I'm a local realtor here, and I've been coming to the CAZA group for quite a while, and I like to say, I like hearing the stories, the tales from the crypt, if you will, the true to life stories, and learning all about real estate investing. And ultimately hope to purchase my first investment property.
You got it, you will. You just keep coming back, listening to stories, applying information. It's cool.
Yeah, my name is Jim Navarro. I'm a wholesaler. I started since 2018, and so looking for more cash buyers, flippers, or buy and hold, and also lenders as well.
All right, welcome, Jim.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lee Johnson. Basically, I have a company called Value Investment Partners where we educate investors who are looking to move into multifamily on the passive side of the house. So if you guys are interested in understanding how to invest in multifamily, and when I'm talking multifamily, I'm talking 50, 100, 200 doors. So if you want to figure out how to invest in multifamily on that side, give me a call.
Cool. Let's talk. So multifamily, right here, somebody that's actively multifamily, great to know somebody like that. Go ahead.
Hi, Andy. I've been up here a few times already and learning a lot. So looking to make my first cash offer deal. So obviously looking to work with some wholesalers. If you have any deals, I'm looking to acquire my first investment property anytime now. So
cool. Very good. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jacques. I'm a 16-year buy and hold investor, and I'm now a realtor as well in Virginia and planning to do Maryland as well. I'm here to listen to people's experience and to share mine.
Great. Welcome, John.
Hi, I'm Irie with the Fortune Oversea, who actually hosts the Grid Gainesville location. We're just here to learn from Rob, and this is Nick.
Yeah.
The Fortune Oversea as well. He's here to learn as well.
Yeah. My name is Nicholas, and I'm a newly marketing associate for Fortune Homes, and I'm just here to learn about what I can do with that experience.
Welcome. It's always good to have great partners in the room. You guys have been running, right? Your dad's been running essentially Grid Gainesville. Come on in, hey, for 7 years, 8 years maybe, right? And he started in this room 10 years ago with no experience, right? So, and he came to one of our boot camps a long time ago when we did those. Go ahead.
My name is Arnold, and my wife and I recently started a business, and we're looking to fix and flip. And our goal now is to try to get an understanding of how to make the numbers work so that we don't come out under.
Right. Welcome. Go ahead, sir.
Hey everybody, my name is Chad Green. I'm a multifamily mortgage broker, primarily agency papers when I originate, sort of in the $1 to $10 million debt range. This is my first Grid meeting, so this is interesting, great turnout.
Cool, great, welcome man.
Hey, I'm Keon. I've got money to lend, hard money, commercial loans. I'll do the ones under $1 million.
I like that. Very cool. Go ahead.
My name is Barry. This is my second Grid Reston meeting, but I think I've been to every meeting in the Northern Virginia area. I try to keep going and keep being active. I'm a wholesaler. I started late last year. Anybody looking for properties, I am too, and I'll find some for you. I have one rental property, kind of, because we're our own tenant for a business that we have. But that was our first kind of step into the real estate investing pool, which is really nice. So anyway, working hard at it. I'm working every single day. So if you need someone who's going to put in the effort.
That's awesome. It's a full-time effort.
Yeah, and a part-time schedule.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
I'm up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yep. I know that. I started that.
Hey everyone, my name is Jason. I'm an electrical engineer / CTO for a startup that does building energy management and controls. And I'm actively looking to buy and invest in properties.
Great. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Betsy Dimmick, and I'm a realtor as well as an investor. I've done a few flips We've lent money to folks. We're invested in a fund that lends money to other investors, and actually involved in my first condo conversion.
Great. So somebody that's got money to lend, possibly, right? Always good. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Shanti Sethi. I'm a realtor as well as investor. I have done bought one investment property, looking for more, and I have clients who are constantly looking for investment properties.
Okay. Great. Welcome.
I'm Mike Weaver. I'm a real estate agent here in Reston for the last 16 years. I've got investors I'm working with looking for either flips or buy and holds. And I just recently purchased my first buy and hold property as well.
Congratulations. Where'd you buy?
Actually, upstate New York.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay.
My name is Ronnie. I'm a real estate agent, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I could right now to eventually invest in real estate.
Awesome. Welcome.
My name is Cypher. This is my second meetup for GRID. I used to do real estate investment back in 15 years ago. So I took about 15 years break. I want to get back in the game.
Welcome. Okay. Cool. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead in the back.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hi, James Moore, active duty Army officer, excuse me. New, just trying to run a business and get into real estate investing.
Okay. Great. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Athena, and I am also new as well. My parents have a couple of properties down in Florida, and I love the residual income, so I want to join that whole thing, and so I'm looking to do some buy and hold as well.
Great.
Hey, my name is Fred Sales. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams, and I work with a few cash buyers, investors. I'm here to learn because I want to invest down the road. And one of my goals this year is to turn my current home into an investment property home.
Right. It's how a lot of us got started doing that. Go ahead, sir.
Joel Lewis. I was a subcontractor flipping houses. Now I want to get into buying to flip.
Okay.
So looking for a first deal.
Okay. Looking for his first deal. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jay. Brand new to the real estate investing game, so I'm here to learn, but my interests lie in multifamilies. Ideally, I'd like to do some house hacking, but in this area, might be able to talk.
Sure. Sure. We got a multifamily guy. We got a couple over here, right?
Wonderful.
So you guys need to connect. Go, sir.
Welcome, Sal. I'm also a real estate agent here in this office with Keller Williams. Most everybody here knows Bigger Pockets, Brandon Turner. I have no idea how he got there, but that's kind of where I'm aiming to get to. Just started real estate about 3 months ago, and my initial strategy will be buy and hold.
Great. Keep doing your videos, man. I love them.
Thank you.
Really good. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Adina. I'm a project manager for a local builder, new, and I want to learn about real estate investment.
Great. Welcome.
Hi everybody, my name is Paul. I've been coming to GRID, I guess it's about my 5th or 6th meeting. I'm primarily interested in multifamily, so Lee and I are good friends.
Cool.
But I'm just getting my business off the ground, building up my knowledge, building up my network. My primary market is Florida, so if you're looking for someone to partner up, JV in Florida.
What part of Florida?
So we start in the Fort Lauderdale area, and then expand to Tampa, Orlando, because that's really where it's hot.
I want to buy stuff in St. Pete and
St. Pete.
in Tampa, so I own something there already, and I want to buy more.
Yep, so I'll be focused on Florida, so if you're interested in that market, chat with me.
Awesome. Go ahead.
I'm Lynn Sullivan, and Rob and I know each other. I've been to a few of these meetings. I'm interested in, we're putting a little investment group together to do sustainable real estate development properties. I'm interested in speaking to anybody here that is interested in this sustainable. That's the niche that I've been focused on, and that includes putting Tesla roofs on houses and managed grasses, carbon neutral, gardens, and completely turnkey these properties, so that it's used for buy and flip and buy and hold.
So sustainable investments.
Sustainable real estate.
Cool.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm new to flipping real estate, so I'm here to learn and love to meet some of you. And yeah.
Welcome. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Uche. This is my first year. I'm a serial entrepreneur, also in the military. Somewhat new to the area. I moved here from Colorado, so I've done some flips, and I've actually done 3 in this area since moving down here a couple months ago. So looking to network and kind of learn a little bit more about this market coming from the Colorado Springs area.
Okay, we got a good room tonight, right? We're going to be talking about how to market for deals, but before we do that, who are you?
You skip me every
I
time.
don't skip you, man.
Nice recovery. Thanks, partner.
Go ahead.
Mark Beckett, everybody. Hello, welcome. Welcome to everybody. Well, they can't see you, but wave to Facebook Nation over there on the phone, beaming live across the interwebs. As Rob said, we've been doing this for 10-something years now. Rob focuses on agent stuff. Sold how many houses last year?
230.
Oh, don't be modest. He sold like 11,000 houses. Need anybody that's really good at that? Rob's your guy. I focus on our investment side, do rehabs, a couple of rentals. We have a construction division. Know anybody needs any help with any kind of construction? We've got cards up here at the front. Please grab one of those. We're always buying, always selling, like everybody. If you are members of the Grid VIP closed Facebook group, you may have seen we wholesaled a property a couple of weeks ago there that we sold. So every once in a while we'll sell. Every once in a while we'll buy. So if you've got something you're looking to sell, we're always interested. If not me, we might know somebody else that might want to buy your deal. We can help you with that. That's what we're looking to do. Kind of fit in where we can. Do some business with everybody where we can. That's why we run this group. It works really well for us. We think it'll work really well for you. So we'll talk about our thing. Break into a little bit of networking. That's your chance to talk to one another. Go and talk to those people that you heard and said, hey, I'm a wholesaler. Get on their list. Somebody said they're a lender. You want some money. Go chat them up. Get on their list. Don't have anybody else to talk to. Come talk to me, right?
Yeah, we'll introduce you guys. Because seriously, part of this, I mean, people could be watching this online, but the real magic happens in this room, exchanging cards, grabbing cups of coffee afterwards, adding people to your database. That's where the real money is made, right? Not just consuming content online. That's great, but it's the connections in you that matter. So.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to talk about it in a second. Okay. This is a place that we get a lot of our business from. You can too. So use that room. All right, so that's who everybody is. What are we talking about here this evening? Oh, we're not talking about anything. It's all illegal. Pay no attention to it. Or if you do pay attention to it, just know that we're not attorneys, we're not accountants, right? Do your due diligence, check everybody out, vet, research, what have you, right? All right, so marketing, how to get the phone to ring. Right?
So guys, this is my favorite topic. All right, this is my favorite topic. This is where the magic actually happens. So, you know, what business are we in when you really think about it? Are we in the real estate business? Right? We're in the marketing and sales business. That's what this is, right? So you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to generate a lead, what's the point, right? So you have to learn how to generate leads. And those leads need to generate appointments, and those appointments need to generate actual deals, right? So tonight we're going to be talking about that. How do you generate leads to generate appointments for deals? And what I like to do is I like to talk about when I started segmenting and building our business out and our investment business and our agent business, we realized that there was a formula for this that I could train other people on, and I called it my zone system, right? Zone is just an acronym. I don't think it's on here that just has it spelled out, but I'll give it to you right now. It's zero in on the target market that you want to go after. It's own the mind share of that market. It's network and nurture your database. And then it's expand and grow, right? So this is a mental framework. And under each one of those, there's modules that I typically, and I will go into detail on the majority of these, there's modules that Jess has kind of created some slides on. But I'll go into detail, and if you have specific questions, be like, hey, I don't understand that, okay? So let's talk about Z, for zone first. Zero in on your target market. So Miss over here with the awesome earrings, right?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to point you out real fast. You said something, right? And I want to use this as a learning moment. You said, I'm looking for deals in the what? In the what area?
DMV.
You said the DMV. I'm looking for deals in the DMV. Okay, how big is the DMV? It's huge, right? It's huge. So this is an area where people often struggle because you can't be all things to all people. You can't know the entire market unless you're Mark Beckett, who's been looking at the data for the last 15 years and knows every area. But in the beginning, you have to pick an area, a zone. Okay? So let's just use an example, right? What's a zone that you like for investments in this area?
For geography now, like I tell people, I'm looking for deals in worst case scenario, Northern Virginia, best case scenario, Reston. It's where I live, it's where we work. I'm looking for properties that are probably in not so great condition with people who have some kind of an issue that needs some kind of solving, either based on the condition of that house or their personal financial condition or the timing of when they need to have something done, who need a property sold in as is conditioned relatively quickly by somebody who knows what they're doing. If you know someone like that who has a property to sell in the Reston, Herndon area, give me a call, we can make something happen.
So Reston, Herndon, you could define the geography. Reston, Herndon, Vienna, Great Falls, right? You can say, hey, I'm an investor in this market. Think about this. When you go to a networking event and you tell somebody, oh, I'm a wholesaler, right? Well, how many people in here said that they were a wholesaler? Like, raise your hand, okay? So lots of you. Did any one of those people stick out in your mind? No. But if somebody had said, I'm a wholesaler in Herndon, that would have stuck out to you, right? And you would have, what you should have done, then put that in your database, okay? So what Mark just described was one of the modules in my zone, which is, okay, once you kind of identify a general area, what is the avatar of that person? Who's the avatar that you're going? So you just described, who is the person that we're going after?
So we identified the geography. The geographic market is Reston and Herndon, right? The psychographic market is a motivated seller. We say this all the time. Who's done a deal? Who's got deals? Nobody here's got deals. Nobody's looking for deals. You never find a deal. What you're looking for is a motivated seller, right? You find a motivated seller with a property you can buy for below market value that you can add value to and resell for more than you got into it. That's the deal. But what you're looking for is a person, is a psychographic avatar of a person. And generally speaking, for us, the person is someone who needs some help. It's help that we can provide. They need help either with a house in bad shape or with needing money relatively quickly or with needing out of a property that's driving them nuts. There's some kind of an issue.
There's an issue with the property or the situation, right? So that he's describing that avatar. So once you understand your geography and you understand your avatar, then you have to start building your marketing around that. Okay, so let's look at some different marketing messages, right? So
anyone know what the most popular marketing message is for buying houses?
This is great. Yeah, anybody know?
We buy houses.
We buy houses.
Incredibly complex, isn't it?
Right?
It's super deep and it requires a lot of thinking. You're like, what are these people doing? And who do we have to thank for the fact that we can still use the phrase?
Brad Chandler, who went to bat for a lot of investors, and Brad's on here. Thanks, Brad.
At a cost of
millions
of dollars in
because a
lawsuits.
guy had actually thought he had trademarked that, right? And it wasn't. It was a highly used phrase, but Brad had to spend lots of money in order to fight that, right?
So did and won, and now anyone can use the phrase "we buy houses," and you should.
Well, caveat.
Yeah.
right, depends on your target market, right? So, for example, if you're focused on maybe Arlington, higher net worth, I wouldn't send a letter that says we buy houses. I might send a letter that says property wanted. See the slight distinction with that marketing message? So when you guys start building out your branding and your marketing, you have to think, who is my avatar? Where do they live? Where do they drive? What do they drive? I'm sorry. Like where do they go, right? And what kind of message would they respond to based on who, right? Baltimore message is going to be different than a North Arlington message. You guys get that? Right? And so you have to build your marketing around that. If you just do a regular we buy houses and say, I'm just going to put that message out there without thinking of who your avatar is, you're wasting money. Right? Make sense? Okay. The other thing you have to start looking at is, what is my branding around that kind of message? Do I want to, remember, colors matter, right? Anybody done any study of colors? Like you guys might know some basic stuff. Like blues mean what? Calm, right? That's right. Hot, red means what? Passion, right? Could mean stop, it could mean hey. But so you have to start doing some research around the branding that you guys want to put out to your avatar, and then you have that brand in your head, and then you're going to take it to the marketplace. Okay. So I'm going a little bit deeper than what most people are thinking about. This isn't as simple as just putting out a we buy houses message. So let me give you another basic thing. How many people have gone to a networking event and they've given you a business card, and you grab that business card and right off the bat it feels like what? They printed it on a laser printer at their house, right? What message does that send? Right? This stuff matters, right? This stuff matters, right? And unfortunately, people make judgments like this, right? And so you have to make sure that you are, it's the entire package. How you present yourself, what you say, right? All that stuff. What you wear, all kind of matters. You're giving off a vibe, right? So anyhow, that avatar piece is important. Building your marketing to that avatar, extremely important. The message for an apartment building landlord, very different than a North Arlington house or a house in Reston, right? So you got to match that. Anybody have questions around that? Okay. So once you understand the geographic side, you understand the psychographic market you're going after, you understand your personal branding, then the message is pretty simple, right? Go ahead.
Well, it can be as simple as we buy houses, but to further your point, we've already decided we're trying to solve somebody's problem, right? We're looking for somebody who's motivated by something. So what is the message that the person who's got this problem that I'm trying to reach might respond to, right? So what do we send out to like absentee landlords?
Tired of tenants, toilets, right?
Midnight phone call, right? What is the pain point for somebody who has a rental property with a terrible tenant who's driving them nuts? They want to hear that somebody's going to make the pain of their terrible tenant and rental property go away. So those are the messages that you want in that marketing piece.
That's right. And by the way, in a geographic, psychographic market, you go absentee landlord is one. So think about how big this is, right? You could say Reston Herndon. How many absentee owners are there in the Reston Herndon market? Thousands.
14,000.
Thousands. Okay. Now let's say you could say, well, I don't want to do absentee owners. I want to focus on probate and estate. Like that's another segment, right? That you just go after. Or you could say, you know what? What I really want to do is I want to target people that get in the way of the path of deals. So who might that be in the Reston Herndon area that might have access to some of these pain points before they hit the open market? Attorneys. contractors, but attorneys are a big one. Divorce attorney is a big one, right? Real estate agents is another big one, right? Contractors is another big one. Estate sale companies. So you literally can create, I want you guys to start thinking about this. You can say, you know what? I'm only going to communicate my message to real estate agents. And I want every real estate agent in blank area to know that I buy property in blank area. Make sense? Because then the more specific you are, the more people remember. If you just say, I buy property in the world, right? What happens? But if you say, hey, I specifically buy property here, and I specialize in this, then it activates something in somebody's brain, and they remember it. And then you have to communicate that message how many times?
Forever. Many times.
Ever.
More than once.
Yeah. I mean, we say it takes about 8 or 9 times before it actually sinks in. Right? So, by the way, if you're doing direct mail and you send out lots of letters at one time, right? Or you send to a large group of people and you do it one time, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. But if you send it to a smaller group of people every month, forever, what happens? You get deals. That's just what happens. It's time on task over time. By the way, that is the secret to everything. Time on task over time. So as you start building out your marketing, and we'll go through this, you have to work out what your budget looks like. Because if you're like, hey, I only have a budget of $1,000 a month, right? Or $500 a month or $200 a month, you need to know what the cost of that direct mail piece is. Anybody know what the cost of a direct mail piece is for a targeted list?
80 cents.
What's that?
80 cents.
80 cents is good. Like, yeah, you could do it less. You could do it depending on
Yes.
volume, right? Somewhere between as low as 17 cents, which I know how to do, right? To as high as like maybe $1, right? And everything in between. So that, it matters to understand these costs so you can build your budget. So let's just say it's 50 cents, right? To make it simple. 1,000 homes that you hit over and over and over again, right? That's
$500.
$500. $500. $6,000 a year, right? So you have to be able to set some of this marketing. Just set it and forget it, right? Okay, I know Jess has slides.
Track it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So, what's the message to agents? Said agents or somebody you wanted to get in front of. What are their problems that I'm going to solve? Yeah, so a message that I might send to a real estate agent via email, like just a drip, like free marketing, right? Because we always want to do free first, and I'm going to talk about this, stuff that's free, is I would say, have you come up, because let's be honest, most agents don't understand this side of the game. They don't understand, they're retail. They walk into a house like the one that Mark had in Vienna, and they're not sure what to do with it. So you have to describe that. Hey, do you have a house that has like lots of stuff in it? It hasn't been updated in 40 years. It doesn't smell all that great. There's mold in it. There's leaks. There's problems. Those are the houses that I want to buy, right? And that message is sent to them over and over and over again, so that when they do walk through that door, they remember. They're like, oh, there was that guy who said he buys smelly cat houses, right? Because he sent me a smelly cat house video, right? So imagine being creative and you go, hey, another smelly cat house property. I do not want to be known as the smelly cat house guy. FYI.
I just bought another house.
I will buy it.
Yeah.
But don't call me the smelly cat.
Okay, but or there was another property, right, that has a lot of stuff in it. It's like, sometimes, unfortunately, life gets in the way, and people let the house go for whatever reason. And we're in the problem-solving business, and many agents don't know how to handle that, and you could be their solution. And you would. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, who's in VIP and saw the video I posted from the hoarder house that we're doing?
Okay.
I think the message to an agent for that would be, if you're running out, I'll run in.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
The picture of a boarded up house. If you're running out,
I'm running in.
I'm running in.
Yeah.
Give me a call, phone number, blah, blah, right? Relatively simple,
Yeah.
but that might be something that an agent would respond to, right?
Yeah, by the way, you start thinking about how do you create creative marketing that makes you stand out, right? I tell this story, I've told it for years, right? Where I sent my wife into a house where the owners had not let the dogs out for 5 years. They had used a designated room to let the dogs go in. So I didn't warn her about it. She, her nose, like the ammonia was like, oh my God. When my business partner went in, he went in with a full hazmat suit, right? So, if you have to use this kind of suit to go into the house, like this is the kind of house I want to buy. So you just have to start thinking about how do you create these creative messages to get if you're going after an agent, right, to respond to you. But the message to the homeowner is different than that. You hear that? The message to the homeowner is, do you have a house that you just don't want anymore? And by the way, there's many people that just don't want the house anymore because it's an emotional weight on them because of either divorce or, unfortunately, the house, there are issues and they haven't cleaned it in a long time, and now it's just easier to move than to clean and start over, right? And that's okay, we solve those problems, right? We solve those problems. So you just have to know how are you going to craft that creative message. So here,
well, and I think be your authentic self
is important.
Maybe it means know who you best interact with, right? So if you're a higher end, want to work in Arlington on $1 million stuff, present yourself that way. If that is your authentic self, it's less about we buy ugly houses, more about property wanted, opportunities wanted. We'll work with you on whatever.
What you might do in that case is, like, let's say you're doing higher end luxury renos, right? You might just be dealing directly with financial advisors and estate attorneys at a high level and present yourself that way because you feel comfortable there, right? Or maybe
Arlington Property Advisors.
Whatever, right?
I hope that's not taken. If it is it my bad?
Yeah. but know that you can change as you grow in the business. Your brand can grow. As you grow, your brand can grow, and you can then start new divisions, right?
All right.
Okay.
So we know who our avatar is, how to determine the zone that we want to work in, right?
Yep.
So if we want to own the mind share of the people, we craft a message that they'll respond to that's authentic to us and where we want to work and the type of people that we think we can help.
Yep.
How then do we get those messages out there or get people to know that we exist and they'll contact us?
Yep.
Right? Three basic ways to generate a lead from anything, anywhere, right?
That's right.
Prospecting, networking, and marketing. Prospecting meaning you go out and do something. Networking meaning you're talking to people about it, and marketing meaning you put out a message and hope somebody sees it, right?
That's right. Pretty simple. But the reason why we start with prospecting first, especially for those just starting off building businesses, is because your funds are limited, right? You want to minimize your downside. So an example of prospecting, you could do it like, what do you need? You need a phone, you need phone numbers, you need a little guts, a good script, right? And then you need to make the call, or you need to knock on the door. So let me give you guys a very basic, I think I did a video on this and I'll share with you guys, a very basic high value thing, okay? Who's ever opened up the classified section in the Washington Post to look at for the foreclosure list? Okay, yeah. There's websites now like Realty Track out there, but you know these banks have to advertise in the paper that a property is going into foreclosure. You guys know that? It's by law they have to do that. Okay, and on there they're going to have the date. You know, they're going to have the owner's name. They're going to have the address of the property. They're going to have their interest rate. They're going to have how much money you got to bring to the auction, And then they're going to have at the very bottom who the attorney is that's doing the foreclosure. I want you to take a note of all the attorneys and write them down and create a little list. There's like 6, 7, 8 main ones in this area, right? And then I want you to go find their websites. And on their websites, they by law advertise all of these properties on their websites, on pages, with all the dates and the times of when the properties are being auctioned. Okay, so this is a highly targeted list, yes? Right? So if you had picked a zone area like, again, can't be all things to all people, can't know all the market, but if you said Reston, Herndon, Vienna is like my little hub, you can go to all the sites out there. And in the beginning, maybe this is something that you do. But once you make a little money, you might have a virtual assistant do it for you. And every morning I wake up and I get a list of all the properties that are now on all these different attorneys' websites in my target zones. So now I have a target list, okay? So remember, I want to, if I'm new, prospect first. How could I prospect that list? Especially if it's in my geographic area, right? I could call that list, right? That would be one.
Knock on that door.
I could knock on the door. That's what I did when I first started. I knocked on that door, right? I actually made my wife knock on the door with our 2-month-old little baby girl on her back. Who isn't going to open that door, right? I'm thinking marketing, right? So, but that's what we did. We knocked on those doors and we said, hey, we noticed that your property is going to auction on July 14th, and we want to know, whether or not we can help you. Tell me a little bit about your situation. Is there anything that we can do to help?
Not an easy conversation. And there's a problem, right? There is someone with a problem that you can potentially solve. And while it's not the easiest door to knock on, that is an opportunity if that person is receptive to it, right?
Pookie, can you do me a favor? Can you call my wife? Because that's my daughter calling.
Okay.
And she doesn't call. She's 17, right? So it's like, sorry guys, let me take this.
On such and such date. Well, how did you even find it? If they did, though, it's public information, and we can help people in these situations. That's why I'm here. So if I can help you, I'd love to talk to you about it. And while it was not all that effective for the last 5 or 6 years, because a lot of times now, not now, but 3 or 4 years ago, if someone had bought in 2006 at the top of the market and found themselves in a foreclosure situation, there might not have been a lot of equity. Now, the market's come up so much, there's probably plenty of equity out there where someone may have some financial reason why they can't keep that house and they're having trouble making payment and they may need to sell it, but it may still have plenty of equity in it if you can get to them in time and get to them before the auction and say, hey, I can maybe get you out of this. You can get this house sold and walk away clean and not be foreclosed on. Is that something you're even willing to entertain? And quite often the answer will be yes. It just used to be those turned into short sales because they'd say, yeah, sure, you can help me. It's worth $200 and I owe $5. And you can still help those people. There's always a way to help. But now it might be a lot easier to just say, what do you owe? You owe $285. It's worth $375. Yeah, let's make something happen. I can stop this foreclosure.
I want to let everybody know my daughter's fine.
Oh, good.
She wanted to know if I wanted anything from Taco Bell. Because I told her, you cannot go to Taco Bell ever without bringing me back something. And I'm ashamed to say that, but I like Taco Bell. So, anyway, but she's fine. She's totally fine. She's totally fine.
So prospecting, knocking on the door, picking up the phone, going out to tell somebody.
By the way, it is direct, it is down and dirty, it's belly to belly, and there is no better way to learn, right? Because here's what you have to be able to do when you're belly to belly. That's hard for me to say. You have to know how to develop instant rapport, right? You have to have empathy. Right? Because you're communicating with people that are going through a tough situation. So have you ever heard of Ford as you develop rapport with people? Right? Ford family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It's a way to develop rapport, but mirroring and matching. I'm going to give you guys a great book on tactical empathy, right? Anybody in here read the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss? Awesome book, right? FBI negotiator for hostage situations. And then what he's done is he's essentially taken those skills and shown us how to use them in the business world, right? And it's a great book. So tactical empathy. What does tactical empathy mean? Did you read anybody in the back of the room that read the book?
Just being intentional with, instead of just naturally being empathetic, being aware of how you're presenting your empathy, like mirroring and the things he talks about.
Mirroring and matching. Anybody else? Okay.
Listening. A lot of listening.
A lot of listening and a lot of repeating back. Right? So I heard you say, right? Yeah, paraphrasing everything that they're saying. Right? Everybody wants to be what in life? Heard, understood, loved, right? By the way, if you can understand that, then you can solve anybody's problem in any situation. People want to be heard, understood, made to feel important and loved. That is like you do that, you guys, you crush it. Okay,
so you're saying my marketing message should be, I will love you. And by you.
So by the way, I guess to say that, listen,
coming up on Valentine's Day, people.
I'm a big reader. I'm a big, reading is a big piece. I constantly listening to stuff. There's a guy, his name was, oh boy, now I'm going to draw on a blank. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the person that's, he sold cars, and he's in the Guinness Book of World Records. Oh, what's his name? Shoot, I'm going to draw a blank. Anyhow, his whole message, his whole marketing message was, I like you. I like you, right? So he wore a pin that said, I like you. He literally would send out postcards to people in the beginning of the year, Happy New Year, I like you, right? Happy Valentine's, I like you. Happy St. Patty's Day, I like you. It was he did this, and people would line up to buy a car specifically from him because they felt liked and important by him.
Was it Stuart Smalley?
No! Man, I can't remember the guy's name. If anybody can remember his name, look at him. Yeah, I'll remember, it'll come to me. So, prospecting.
Yep.
Networking.
Networking, what is that?
What are we doing in here? That's what Grid is all about.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
That's easy.
Yep.
So are you suggesting then that when I'm in a room full of people who might be doing what I do, maybe I should tell them what it is that I do?
Yeah.
Maybe tell them what I'm looking for?
Yes.
Maybe make sure everybody that you know in your life knows that you're looking to buy property somewhere that maybe has a little bit of a rough spot, bad condition, something you can maybe buy for a little bit less than full market value that you can maybe fix up and sell for a profit?
Yes.
Tell everyone you know, right? Networking doesn't stop in a networking event, right?
True.
It's everyone.
Now here's the problem with networking events. How many of you have gone to a networking event, met somebody, grabbed a business card, and then never did anything with that business card? Am I the only one? No. Okay. We've all done that, right? By the way, I've calculated what a business card in my database is worth to me. It's worth $400. That's what a contact in my database is worth to me. So now, when you know that that contact's actually worth something, that you mark, and I'm going to show you a method to market to those people consistently right now. Would you put this person's name in your database if you knew it was worth $400? Yeah. Absolutely. How many cards do you have on your nightstand right now that are just sitting there? Just add it up. You're like, oh wow, there's all this money that's there, right? So do yourself a favor. You could tell people. The problem with just telling, hey, this is what I want to do, right, is that it's a one-to-one communication. That's great. That works, right? There's lots of one-to-one communications that happen. But what I want you guys to do is create one-to-many communication. What's a one-to-many communication? Give me an example.
Newsletter.
Newsletter.
Blog.
Blog. Facebook. Right?
The guy's name is Joe Girard.
Joe Girard! Joe Girard! That's it. All right.
I just Googled him.
You Google Joe Girard. Joe Girard, right? So, I should have put that on airplane. Anyhow, so if you know it's worth $400, it might be the number might be different for you, but that's what it is for me. Over a decade of knowing what my database are, my numbers, that's what it's worth. So I put people in, and then I market to them what we call it a 36 touch, but we actually, it's more like a 66 touch. Well, I'm touching people 66 times a year. Think about that, on average.
I hope we got that on video.
What's that?
I'm touching people 66 times a year.
Okay, Mark. So by the way, this is one of our touch systems in here, right? Grid is a touch system. I'm touching our tribe one time a month in this room, right? But if I send an email out to the tribe, that's another touch, right? If I invite you to a party or an event, that's another touch, right? If you get an email about a specific property that we want to wholesale, that is another touch. So you start thinking, these are all the ways that I'm just going to keep myself in front of you guys over and over and over. But you can only do that effectively if you have what?
Systems.
You need a CRM, guys. You need a database to put these people into, right? Now, it doesn't matter what CRM, you just need a CRM. So I'll give you some examples. Oh, here we go. Look, it's already there. But you might have to go back because we got to do the marketing piece.
I try to keep up with you as best I can, bro.
Okay. So CRM. Podio is one that we use on the investment side, right?
Contactually, you like?
Contactually is another good one that I've used in the past, right? Our agent one right now that we use is Brivity, but it's not really for investors. Podio, contactually would be good for investors. We used to use Insightly. By the way, if you go to the Google Marketplace, who's been to the Google Marketplace before? You guys know that there's a Google Marketplace? Literally everything just syncs with your Gmail. Super simple, right? So go there and find one that works for you. And by the way, these are inexpensive. They're like $10 a month. I mean, they are low cost, high value assets. Okay? So get a CRM. But if you go back a slide, we talked about networking, right?
Yep.
So marketing.
Putting out a message.
Putting out a message, so let's talk about this because this is probably the most important piece, right? Because this is leverage. You guys get that, right? Marketing is leverage. So free marketing right now, let's talk about the free marketing. because I'm all about doing things that don't cost you guys a lot of money in the beginning. You know, you'll go to networking events or you'll go to seminars and they'll be like, do direct mail, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm going to spend, and you spend all your budget and you get no deal. So free marketing. Email, right? Facebook is a database. Instagram is a database, when you think about it. LinkedIn is a database. These are all aggregating people's names, contacts, right? People won't always put their phone numbers in there, but you have access, right? So think of them as a database. You could create then messages like we talked about, specific to your target audience, right? You can send emails out consistently. Now here's the problem though. Agents have, or investors, have a hard time with systems. So if you want to put out an email to your database consistently, let me give you a really simple way to do it. You just say, on the 1st of the month, I'm sending out an email, come hell or high water. And on the 15th of the month, I'm sending out an email, come hell or high water. And you just make that your first basic email newsletter system. And that's a system. 1st of the month, 15th of the month. And you never fail. Make sense? Then you start adding other layers of marketing. So what's another layer of marketing that you could add, right, that is incrementally, well, direct mail we'll talk about being more expensive, but let's look at another layer, right? You said a blog before. So I'll give you a blog that you guys can go look at and you can copy. If you go to Virginia Short Sale Advice, you'll see a distressed seller blog that I have, that I created years ago. And that's an asset that still pays me to this day. I need to feed the asset more. I was having that discussion with our team this morning. Need to feed that asset more, but we just recently took a listing from that. That was a $1 million listing from that asset, okay? Another one is restondigs.com. That's my agent blog, restondigs.com. And that's another digital asset. It's a blog. Create a video, put content on it, right? What is that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, what does that do?
What that does is that it attracts my avatar. So Virginia Short Sale Advice attracts the distressed seller who's in pre-foreclosure and is upside down on their property. See how specific that was? And then I created marketing.
How? How does that attract?
Okay. Well, first you have to create the content, right? So when you create the content, you can kind of, SEO is very difficult, but you could create content, try to create SEO around it. And by the way, great SEO happens with great content, lots of it. But what you really do,
what's SEO?
Search engine optimization, going in and making sure that the pages are written the right way with the right words and yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go back. But the real way to do it right off the bat, because SEO is so difficult, is through PPC, pay-per-click. So Google, a little company called Google. You guys know how Google makes their money? Mm-hmm. Okay, and who are their customers? Everybody, right? Any small business, every small business is advertising typically on Google, right? So when you go on there, you'll see the ads, and then you'll see all the organic stuff that's there, right? The ones that have strong SEO show up, organic. All the ads above that. You guys know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So you can pay Google a certain amount of money, right? And they will put those ads in front of your avatar. Make sense? You can set up a budget, and you then drive them to a blog that speaks to whatever the problem is. Make sense? That's what Virginia Short Sale Advice did. But you could do that with anything, right? For a watch company wanting to sell watches, right? For a real estate agent wants to sell real estate in a specific area. Now, is it inexpensive? No, right? You have to have a little bit of a budget, but it's not crazy expensive, right? You just set your budget and you say, I don't want to spend more than $500 a month or more than $1,000 a month, right? By the way, Facebook, same thing. Same thing with Facebook, right? They've gotten a little restrictive with real estate and credit and things like that, but at one point you could literally, I could say, I want, you know, I mean, whatever you want, by the way, you could target. You know that, right? You guys know. I mean, literally I could say, I want this particular person to see my ad. They walked into Whole Foods, they live in Reston, they drive a minivan, you know, they have kids between the ages of 4 and 10. I can target them and literally show up in their Facebook feed.
Do you have a strategy for prospecting, like videos? Do you use videos if they watch it to 50%?
Yep.
Do you have another list where you
absolutely
market to them as well?
Yep. So I learned that through a gentleman by the name of Grant Weiss. Grant was actually at our Grid Connect last year. We're going to do our Grid Connect, we'll talk about it, which is all about marketing, which is how to do this, but like on steroids, right? Like literally unpacking exactly how to do it, step by step by step. By the way, there's a lot of that, what you're talking about, in the back end of Grid. If you go to Grid Investor and you sign up for a free account, there's a section where you guys get access to last year's Grid Connect, I think for free, right?
I think we're charging for it. I'll pull it up in a minute.
Yeah. And
but
it
your point
walks
is,
through exactly that.
Facebook is a place where you can advertise. Google is a place where you can advertise. The difference is on Google you can also show up organically, right? Your blog, if I just looked up or I just typed into Google, how do I do a short sale? And you're in Reston, I guarantee you probably still show up first page, maybe second page. You haven't done anything with it for a while to try to send clicks to it.
It's hard,
You
but
have to keep content in it.
But this is what I love about Google. This is why Google is so powerful. Google knows your deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
Right? Because what do you type into that little box? Right?
You're looking for.
Well, they think I'm going through foreclosure and my parents have died and left me a house because all the searching I've been doing lately.
Yeah, but what happens though is that literally I can create, now here's what happens. If you type in, right, how do I short sell a house in Virginia, then what's gonna happen is now I'm not spending money there right now, I'm all, organic, but before I would have shown up with an ad and you would have said, huh, interesting, 10 steps to short sale freedom, what's that about? Click. And then would have driven you to my blog, and on that blog there would have been lots of content to make you want to opt into something, right? Or to just pick up the phone and call me. Just say, hey, you look like you're the guy that knows about this stuff. So by the way, you could literally do that for estates. You could target divorce attorneys like that, right? I mean, it's powerful. You hear this term, riches are in the niches, right? If you're trying to be all things, all people, you're going to fail in this business. You literally have to pick niches and then go after them. It's better to go deep than it is to go wide, right? Go deep. That's what Zone is all about. It's about going deep. So, direct mail marketing, right? So we look at direct mail marketing. That's another one. So we could get our postcards, our newsletters, right, at around 55 cents, 60 cents, 62 cents, right? If you start using EDDM, everyday direct mail, right, by the post office, you could drive that cost down. The problem with EDDM is it just sends like a blanket to a certain area. It's not a targeted list, right? It's not a targeted list. Targeted lists cost a little bit more. They just do, okay? So you could also buy lists out there, by the way, guys, right? There's people that sell lists. For recently divorced people, you could buy a list. For probate people,
anything you want.
Yeah.
If the data exists, someone's bought it, they've aggregated it, they've chopped it up by geographic area, and they will sell it to you. I want to reach people who are looking to buy a car in the next 60 days. That list exists. People who are underwater on their house and have to sell it in the next 90 days. That list exists. Just Google search, buy list for X, whatever person it is you're trying to reach, whatever problem it is you're trying to solve. You'll be able to buy the names and addresses of people on that list.
but do you see how big that mark, like what we're talking about is? There's so much to it. So the sooner you can actually say, this is my avatar, this is who I'm going after, and you just go straight after them, and you don't deviate from that plan, because deviating from the plan does what? It kills everything. And how long will it take you to actually get that plan to start working? 6, 7, 8, 9 months on the marketing side. It's going to take time, right? But what happens to people? They get what? Discouraged, and they quit, and they say this doesn't work. And I'm like, no, you didn't work it. Yep.
How do you go about finding the best avatar? Is it based on, some people say the best-selling zip codes or whatever, but do you just determine what you personally are going after? Or?
That's a great question. So there's a couple things. You're gonna ask yourself some questions, right? Like, how to pick the best avatar. So here are some of the questions I would ask myself. I'd say, okay, where do I live? I don't want to drive too far from where I live. Why? Because of efficiency, right? So first off, I might say, I live in Reston. Okay. So I live in Reston. I don't want to drive too far away, but I need to find product for rehabbers. This is for rehabbers. I need wholesalers. I need to find product that is older, right? I can't target new construction neighborhoods, right? Why? Because equity hasn't built up. What I'm looking for is somebody that's lived in a house for 15, 20, 30, 40 years, where these houses are paid for free and clear, or they've been handed down, like mom and dad lived in the house, then mom and dad passed away, right? And then they left it to somebody else. That might be my estate type of avatar. Or I might say, I need properties that, again, Vienna comes to mind for me in this area, right? That's why Vienna kind of went through this whole new construction phase, because what happened was you had these older World War II homes, little ramblers on larger lots, and builders and investors realized, wow, it took one person to build something, and they said, wow, like the dirt is now worth a lot of money, and I can build a really nice big house on this. And so that's why you saw Arlington turn over, right? And then they went to Falls Church from Vienna, right? But the avatar was the same. I need product that's older product that I can improve. Because somebody improved the house next door and it's now worth $900, but this Rambler is only worth $450. Oh, and wait, the new construction is worth $1.3, $1.4, right? So you start looking for, what would you call it, like some margin in that, right? The other thing you could say is, here's another example, and I'll stop here, right? Because there's so many of these. Hey, I went through divorce. I know how ugly divorce is. Actually, I didn't go through divorce. This is just an example. This is just an example. Baby, this is an example. Right? So, but let's say you did go through a divorce, right? And you know that divorce is messy, and it's difficult, and it's hard. But guess what happens when you went through it? You naturally what? Right? You understand all the little nuances. You understand the discussions. You understand how messy it is with attorneys. You have empathy, tactical empathy that can be used, right? So you can take that lemon and turn it into lemonade. So I had a good friend of mine that lost 8 houses, and he short-sold all of it, an investor during the crisis. He short-sold all of his homes. But then guess what happened? He became a what? An expert short-sale negotiator, and literally made $1 million the next year, right? But he could have been like, I lost all my money. He could have been a victim. But instead he said, screw that. I now know how to fix this for other people. And he became empowered with that information. And he made $1 million the very next year. Think about that. It's so powerful, right? So that's how you start picking avatars, saying, who am I? What's my authentic self? Do I have something to give? What's proximity of... That's you. You have to decide, right? So, go.
All right. So the marketing means, though, we were talking about online.
Yep.
Direct mail.
Yep.
Bandit signs. Anybody ever seen signs on the side of the road? We buy houses. Call this number. That appeals to a very limited subset of people who may happen to be driving by. Say, oh, actually, you know what? Now I'm gonna do something about this stupid house. What have I got to lose? Try these people. It's a really, really narrow subset of people. You're not going to see a bunch of them lining every street, but occasionally it works. We don't do it. We know people who have had a lot of success with just nailing signs.
But you get fined after a while, right?
Yeah.
You start getting fined.
It's a bit of a drag. Yeah, there's a lot of downside
And
to
they can get very
bandit
expensive.
signs.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
They get destroyed.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously the big ones, TV, radio. We know people who are doing that. That requires a much larger.
Anybody doing TV
budget.
and radio in here? No.
Express home buyers.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We buy your house.
Express. So there you go. Brad, you should be. Everybody knows the Express Home Buyers jingle, right here.
Every day.
Yeah, and that jingle, by the way, is made them a lot of money, right? It's made them a lot of money. And the way he learned about that, like he knew that a jingle was going to work and believed in it, was because, if I remember the story correctly, his father was an attorney who had run ads, who had a jingle, and that worked. And he just took that and did it in his business. I think that's right. And if I get that wrong, Brad, let me know. Right? But there you go. That literally goes in your brain, stuck in your head. Stuck in your head.
Anything else for marketing? Any other marketing methodologies?
Anybody else? What other marketing things do you guys do out there? Right? Blogs, websites, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Yeah. Go ahead.
How about analytics? Are there any tools out there, analytic tools out there that can analyze the data in a market?
Yeah,
just from sort of top down, just giving us some of the financial numbers and where
there's a lot of
profit, what the profit, or cap rates and things like that, statistical data that tells you about a particular area, just geographically.
So this is a tool that unfortunately here's the deal. Here's the hard truth about this. You need to get access to the MLS to play this game. You can't play this game without the MLS. I mean, it's very hard. You're essentially playing it like this, right? And so you need access to that. The MLS, my buddy Leo developed a company called Remind, right, that plugs into all that data, right? And in there, he's got like absentee owners, he's got sales scores, he has anything that's changed with the title of that property, right? There's all that's there. Now, what you're talking about, there's a great book. It's called Everything You Want to Know About Cash Flow. So if you don't know some of the terms that she just talked out, it's a great book. Everything you need to know about cash flow, right?
But there's no master data analytics program for buying houses. The program is find motivated sellers, find your message, put it in front of them, and try to get their attention. Either you call them, prospecting, you find out about them from somebody else, networking, or you put the message out there that if you have a problem, I can help you solve it, please give me a call, marketing, right? Do that, and then the rest of it is relatively formulaic, and actually that's the whole point of the rest of the year. Come back next month and we'll talk about how to actually identify and negotiate with a motivated seller, and how to estimate a renovation, and how to renovate the house. We'll get to all that other stuff, but it's other steps, right? This one is, what are the messages? How do you get them out there to start to get into the conversation? So it's the direct mail, the online. You can get a magnet for the back of your car. Got a nasty, moldy old house, give me a call. I don't do it, but you could. Rob, you put one on the back of the Lambo, right? Yeah. You've got a nasty, moldy house, call Rob. That would look pretty good on the back of the SD 500. Let's do that.
Something I do, and I don't know if it works for everyone. I'm very involved in the community.
Yep.
When I go to the community things, events, fiestas, whatever, I give everybody a stash of business cards.
Yep.
And I tell them for every 40 people that call me because you gave them my business cards, I'm gonna give you a gift card.
Okay.
So for every 40 persons that call me, I give the person
Sure.
who distributed.
So that would be a form of
That's,
networking, and you've created a reward system,
Yep.
right? So reward systems, like I'll give you an example. In my business, one of the rewards for our friends and our family and our clients is access to our 16-foot truck. So if you're part of my family, if you've ever paid me $1, or if I just plain like you, you have access to my 16-foot truck, right? And that's part of my reward system. And so you need to come up with your reward system, right? Incentives.
Then when you have a presentation, you invite all the 40 and 80 that contacted you to your event.
That's right.
What about driving for dollars? You didn't mention that.
Yeah.
That's another one.
So driving for dollars is fantastic. In fact, I had a gentleman that approached me last grid event. He was recently from Mason, and he said, I'm a college student, my funds are limited. What's the one piece of advice that you would give me if I want to build, this investment wholesale business? And I said, okay, I'm like, do you live on campus? He's like, I'm like right next to campus. I said, great. What I would do is I would pick a mile radius around that house, and I literally would drive every street in that mile radius, would literally have the map and make sure that I drove every street, and I looked for houses that had overgrown grass. They would have gutters that were full of leaves. By the way, every time there's every house we've ever bought has had like a broken car in the front.
Just about.
Right? Just about. Like there's a car with
up on blocks.
Yeah, up on blocks, or the wheels are flat. Right? Just about. Like 90% of them. Right? That's like should be like.
If you're up on blocks, CAZA rocks.
That's right.
I hope somebody's writing these down now. Gold tonight, Jerry. Gold.
That's good. So then what you do is you have a highly targeted list, and let's say that list is only, I told them, 100 people. That's okay. It's a highly targeted list that you're now just going to direct mail. And
Or prospect, right? You can go knock on the door.
Yeah.
We've knocked on the door. Left cards, cards and hangers on the door.
Door hangers, right? But here's the thing. It's about, the problem with like, prospecting is powerful. The problem with prospecting though, is that very few people have the staying power to do it every single month. So, go out there, prospect. Then what I would do is I would leave door hangers if they're not there. Then what I would do is I would send postcards to those 100 houses, and we already know it's going to cost $50. So you're talking about an investment of $600 a year for the ability to buy a house, wholesale a house for 20 grand, make $100,000. Like, that's a great return. By the way, if you just did that, you're playing the game. But what happens is everybody goes here, then they go there, then they do this, then they hear like, oh, my friend said I should call probate. Then they do a little bit of that. Then they go, oh, probate doesn't work, absentee owners. You know what, I should do notes. Maybe I should do buy and hold. Hey, somebody told me that new construction's awesome. And guess what happened? You did what? Nothing. Nothing. Don't be that guy.
Pick something.
So I have a question about the bandit sign. I have I bought a bunch of them and it's just eating dust in my basement.
Okay.
So, and I heard like you guys said it's really risky and all that for the fees and all that.
No, man.
But I'm just trying
Dude,
to
they're like dust in your.
Yeah.
Just put them out. How many do you have?
like 25.
25. Put them out.
What was the question?
So he said he's got 25 bandit signs just collecting dust in his house, right? And I said, just put them out. And they're gonna get picked up, and the likelihood of you being, fined or something is low. And if they do come and find you, just talk to Mark and blame him.
Don't put them out in like the town of Vienna.
Yeah.
They're serious and they fine.
Yeah.
But most other places, not quite as bad. DC, you're usually pretty safe. They'll rip them down and they won't bother to try to figure out where you are.
You know where's a good place?
Google Voice is a really easy way to get a burner number.
Leesburg Pike. That road on Leesburg Pike. You see bandit signs and all the time up and down Leesburg Pike. And I think with the county, they just come and pick them up and toss them, right?
Bandit signs, though, brings to mind another point about how you physically present the message. It's been studied, and typically what's believed to be true is that your motivated seller types who are looking to respond to the message that we want to put out of we'll buy a house as is, pay for cash, close fast, tend to respond more to handwritten messages. So if you're going to put out bandit signs, actually you can have them printed this way that look handwritten, but if you just buy a blank white sign and handwrite in a magic marker, I buy houses all cash, write your number on there.
Are you sure about that?
It will do better. It will do better statistically than one that's been
Somebody Google that stuff. Let me know. I don't know if maybe.
It's out there. Same thing goes for letter campaigns. You send out a letter, handwritten envelopes.
Yellowletters.com. I'm sure you guys heard of that.
Have a much higher open rate than printed letters, right? Printed letter equals junk mail. Handwritten letter means somebody loves me, wants me to see what's inside of this. That's been proven. That's established marketing thing. You can buy them now that have the handwriting on there. Some of them are better than others, but just know that that's a thing we're thinking about. If you're going to spend money on marketing, know that the way that the message is presented does also matter.
If you have a smaller list, you can create very unique marketing for that list that would have a higher open rate. So let's say you only have a 100-person list because you drove for dollars is very specific. You can get like wedding kind of invitations, right, that look like a wedding invitation. And you can handwrite those 100 or pay your kid to handwrite those 100 or pay somebody $10 an hour to do that. I know that we used to do it $1 per letter, right? So it's $100 fine, right, to do it in a for a targeted list, and that gets high open rates, and it looks very personal, right? It is very personal. Right? It was real, but it wasn't a huge list. It was just 100-person list.
I've heard of people taking like FedEx envelopes and putting them in FedEx envelopes, or taking an envelope and putting like a washer or something in there that kind of jiggles and makes a noise, or there's something moving around in the package. That increases open rates of
So mine, I would get the FedEx. I'd get the FedEx. Sorry, FedEx. I'd get the FedEx envelopes, and I would put on the back, warning: contents inside may cause your home to sell. And then I would have like full of stuff. Right.
All right. So talked about a CRM. Talked about list building. Talked about your touch system to stay in touch with people. Right.
We talked about
Never collect a business card and just let it sit on the side of your desk. So now we're marketing. We've got our list of people that we're going to market to. We've decided how we're going to market to them. You talked about having to develop a budget. So if I'm going to spend $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. Don't start the year intending to market if you don't have access to the $6,000 it's going to take to spend that $500 a month every month on your marketing piece. And then don't bother doing any of that if you don't have a way of tracking how effective any of that marketing is. Why not maybe instead of just sending one kind of message to your person that you've chosen, maybe have two different kinds of messages or two different postcards. Send one that would say, hey, I'm buying a local investor, I buy houses in your neighborhood, I buy in as is condition, I sell with cash. Send that postcard out, and then send the same person another postcard the month after that says, hey, I'm part of a large investor network, I know a bunch of people that would be interested in buying houses in your neighborhood. I can set you up with one of those people to help you sell your house for the most possible dollar. Contact me here. See which one of those gets a higher message, and then track it all. Have some way to know which of your things got responded to, so that heaven forbid you're doing more than one of them. You can see which one works the best, and then maybe do that more, right? We're talking about how to figure out what person you're going after, or who you're best able to communicate with your authentic self. It's okay to try a few things, but try and track the few things so that you can find out what is working for you and what you're best at, and what's getting you in the best conversations, and what are the conversations that lead to appointments, and what appointments lead to a deal, right? Track everything.
So one of the ways that we track is we use a tool called Dialogue Tech, right? So Dialogue Tech gives me different unique phone numbers that I put on my different marketing pieces. And so what happens is my postcard has a different phone number, my website has a different phone number, my blog has a different phone number, right? My business card has a different phone number. So then what happens is I get this, you know, when it comes in, sometimes there's a whisper to it, like if we set it up, it'll say, short sale site, like in my ear. It'll tell me what marketing, so I know what to do, right? Because we have different businesses that are out there. I then get an email. If I miss the call, there's an email that comes right into my email box. It says, hey, this was the marketing campaign, and this is who called, right? So.
And websites are cheap. You can start a website for like $20 a year that actually looks relatively good. Maybe send out your postcard. Worth, go here. Have a website where you're trying to collect the name, email, phone number, write some basic contact information so you can contact somebody. Want to get a free offer on your house? Fill out a couple of boxes right here and send it out. You can then split test a couple of different websites and a couple of different messages to see which one gets better results. You can make it fancier. You can just have a spreadsheet. Which one did these people call from? Or if you know you got the lead from the website, it will tell you which website your lead came from. So that's an easy way to track which one is getting more traction, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to pay for clicks to try to send somebody to one of them, you should probably try to send them to the one that you've tested first to see if it already gets some decent organic responses from something like a postcard or a Facebook ad. Find out what works and then pay to expand the thing that you've proven that works, right?
Totally.
That's what tracking does for you, and following things like
do more of what works.
Do more of the thing that works, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think we talked about the rest of these. More people and more often. It's going to be some combination of the two, but usually more often is better than more people if you're debating between just like hitting 1,000 people once or 10 people 100 times, right? So more often generally better. Return on investment is tracking the things that work, doing more of the thing that works better. Click through, open response, budget, sustain. Yep, I think that's it. That's it for
Okay.
marketing.
Who's got questions? Anybody have questions? We build our sites on Squarespace. You can also build them on, so Squarespace is super easy to build the site in, right? You guys familiar with Squarespace? Right, so I would do that. We use Canva for a lot of our graphic marketing stuff. So a lot of the stuff that you see that Jess creates for us in Grid is done in Canva. It's very, very easy to use, right? Versus trying to do Adobe Illustrator or the like. So you can look, there's no reason why you shouldn't look like $1 million, because the tools out there today can make you look like $1 million with not, spending, breaking a lot of money.
Yep.
Not breaking the bank.
So there's plenty of sites. Just look up investor websites or investor postcards. There are a lot of companies that will do the mailing for you and get you good looking stuff to go out.
Yep.
Yep.
Can you give maybe a quick example of if somebody does respond to one of these marketing pieces, like what you would say on that initial call?
Sure. Ooh, beautiful. We'll see you in 30 days. That actually is a topic.
It's a whole topic, right? It's a whole topic.
But the short version is you build rapport, you be empathetic, you try to find out what the problem is, and then make some kind of an offer to solve whatever the problem is, right?
And you make the offer on the phone.
Correct. And try to
Because you're testing.
Accomplish as much as you can on the phone to find out if the person on the other end of the line is even remotely serious about selling at a price even remotely close to something that you're willing to pay. But we'll get into even more of that at next month's meetup. So if you want to kind of though peek ahead at how that conversation goes, I believe we have on the Power Grid now videos from these and other presentations. How do I see that? Can I go here? Can I go?
You'd have to go.
Can I go there? Can I do this? Can I do some other stuff? There we go. So here's what you go if you go to gridinvestor.com. Back it up. At gridinvestor.com, everyone for free can join this deal here. And in this deal here, you got some stuff with some slides, how wholesaling works, how to market for deals. That's the thing that we're talking about tonight. A bunch of free downloads, videos of past meetings from 2018, presentations exactly like this. You can watch all of these things. So highly recommend you go there and do that. Highly recommend that you join our closed Facebook group. Highly recommend that you check us out at Grid Connect 2020. And oh my gosh, look at this. One night only. We don't do a lot of this stuff, but this actually is a really cool thing. And you can, I think, find a link to last year's on the website. Grant Wise was there and talked about the Facebook stuff. We had people talking about apartments. Like
Airbnbs, like
Airbnb, like not just the two of us just yakking about what we're doing. Other people in the area who make a lot of money doing different things, just talking about what they do and how it works, right? It was really, really cool. So
the panel, so the format, it's all about marketing, and it's panel format of people that are doing deals, and you get to learn about their business models, right? So we'll have people that are talking about marketing specifically for wholesale deals, and they'll unpack their business model. And then you will find people doing it specifically for rehabs, and they unpack their business model. For apartments, and then they unpack their business model. For Airbnbs, so that you kind of understand like what people in this area are doing at a really, really high level, right?
So we charge for it, not a lot, but whatever we are charging,
it's like $100.
We're giving 10% off if you go on and use the code Grid Reston. We have it to start the dang thing, so we're able to give out discounts. So use Grid Reston, and you can go Saturday, March 7th.
And by the way, it will fill up, like, because there's only 150 people for that room, so it's just gonna fill up. Small, it's intimate, and high value, totally packed.
It's a really good event.
Yep.
All right, so that's that bit.
Any last questions before we wrap up and let you guys do your thing? Anybody ever? Yes, sir.
What's the name of that website with all the slides and information on
Gridinvestor.com.
it? Okay, thank you.
Grid, G-R-I-D, investor.com.
And the other thing that you can do while you're at it, if you found us on Meetup, go on Meetup, and if you wouldn't mind, if you got anything of value at all, feel free to tell other people, right? This gets better for everyone, the more people that know about us. Know that these kind of same events and conversations are happening in other places. You can see that on Meetup. Just look up Grid Investor. You'll find our friends in Falls Church and Haymarket and Springfield and Baltimore and Upper Marlboro. If you are interested in meeting other people who do things similarly but in perhaps a slightly different way, check that out. We have a lot of good friends of ours that run these events in other locations that do really good stuff. And then just encourage other people to attend. The more people that come to this thing, the more business we're all going to do.
Yeah, we've got 60 people in the room.
Yeah.
You should build your database by 60 people tonight. Make
Yep.
sense? Okay.
Yep.
Guys,
All right.
thanks so much. Break. Let's do it.
Thanks
And
for
you
coming.
guys don't get the you guys don't on there don't get the network. Sorry. Sorry.